Okay, hi everyone. For our next video tutorial for the MemLab network, we're going to clean our S-VHS deck. And this is the Panasonic AG 1980, and this is really versatile because it can play S-VHS, VHS, and then multiple speeds of VHS as well. So that's why, and it's like a prosumer consumer model, so that's why we were so into it. So it's really important to clean your decks because tapes are dirty, so dirt is going to come off of them, and then also sometimes, hopefully this won't happen much, but some of the magnetic particles might come off if the tapes that go through them are a little sticky. So if you ever hear a tape in the deck making loud noises and screeching, you need to stop it because you can't get those particles back once they come off. So actually first, we took off our screws on the side here. Okay, so you can just use any kind of Phillips head. And then always put your screws in a safe space so that they don't fall off and roll off and disappear. And then you kind of have to pull the sides and just get this lip out. And every VCR is a little bit different, but also very similar, so just kind of play around with it. Some of them don't have sides and only have a top. This is if a tape was inside it, so here's the tape, the VHS tape itself, and the tape is the red. I just made it red to highlight it. And this is the tape path, okay? It looks differently right now because there's not a tape in it, because when you clean, you do not want to have the deck plugged in at all, so there's no power going to it, and then you absolutely don't want to have a tape in there either. The main thing you want to clean is the heads, the video heads, but those are also the most easy to damage, so that's really what I'm demoing the most right now. And then we'll quickly end up cleaning all the other little minor parts of the tape path, and the tape path is where the tape is traveling. You can, made by MG Chemicals, you can get these on Amazon they're more expensive than, Q-tips, but you absolutely never, ever, ever use Q-tips when you're cleaning your video heads, okay? So you wanna use this. There are videos out there that also use paper. I was not trained to use paper to clean it, and I was trained to use these, so this is all I'm gonna recommend, is your chamois stick. So you can see this part is just plastic, and then there's just this like chamois, whatever that kind of French fabric is, then it's very delicate and basically treats your video heads with the care that it deserves. So we take that end of the stick and make sure that you have 99%, ideally isopropyl alcohol, ideally 99.9%. You want as little water content in this as possible. So then never double dip, okay? That's just in anything. So I'm gonna dip it in here once, and don't touch it, don't contaminate it with your finger juice or whatever. It's still kind of drippy, so I like to kind of like fling it away because you want it to be wet but not dripping, and that's why you want as little water content as possible, because the alcohol will evaporate more quickly. You can see that little hole in the bottom of this drum. So this thing that's moving is the video drum, and then if you look right below my screwdriver here, try not touching the thing, you can see this little like indentation down there, and it has maybe something little sticking out, and I'm moving it just so you can get a little, but so those are your video heads are in there, and it's just like wire and metal and very delicate. So you have one there, we have one there, so there's two there, and then 3 and 4. So this has 4 video heads. Sometimes you'll have 2. You take your, soaked but not soaking in isopropyl alcohol. Chamois is also the fun way to sound like you know what you're doing. Your chamois stick, and the main thing is you never move the stick, okay? Once you place it on the drum, the video head drum there, and you're not pushing very hard, it's just sort of just touching, okay? Don't move that, you're moving the drum. So with my finger, I am moving the drum, not the stick, It's okay if you're a little shaky. I am like one of those people. You just move it around a bit, and then you can see that this one definitely needed a little bit of a cleaning. It's not horrible. So then the other thing I like about this is I'll just use the other side and do it all again, and I just keep it in the same place. And I'm gentle, but I'm also like not, and I usually never start it like right directly on the heads. I start it like off and then just kind of roll the drum so that the heads touch the chamois stick. You basically do it until it's clean, but like this is, that's not even that bad. And this is, you know, I feel like good enough. It really depends on how often the deck is used, how dirty the tapes are that you need to clean the heads. But if you start seeing any visual dropouts like that snow that's happening, if you start seeing that, then that's usually a sign. But I want you guys to plan on doing it at least once a month. And that way you can avoid those dropouts anyway, and it's better for your deck because you don't want your video heads to get clogged, and then that will make them age more quickly because eventually your video heads will wear down and need to get repaired, or rather replaced. Never use Q-tips on your video heads, but this would be the time where you could, this next step could be where you use Q-tips, but I forgot them. So I'm just gonna use another one of my chamois sticks to clean the rest of the tape pad. And the main thing is, for this next part, I am using distilled water. You have to use distilled water because you don't want any of those metals and various other things that are in just tap water. I'm pouring that into this little mug here so that I can have the littlest bit and not contaminate my huge sample of distilled water. So once again, it's sort of, you dip it in and get the chamois soaking, and then you just have to wait a little bit longer. This is just straight up distilled water. Okay, so we're not dripping. This diagram is on Wikimedia, but I will share this on the website and on Slack. Basically, I'm just gonna clean with this distilled water, just the areas that are touching it that are not this part, nothing here, only just like the rollers, and they just look like black circles right now, but then just when you see them, also like these ones will get moved. They basically pull the tape, so they'll move up there. So that's why it looks a little bit different. Basically anything that looks like a metal rod, so any kind of metal rod. So I'm just like, okay, cool. This is a metal rod. You're a metal rod. You're like a weird white metal rod. Okay, cleaning that. So there are the rods that. But then also, what you want to do is this here is the pinch roller, black rubber pinch roller. I don't know how else to describe it. So I'm just kind of spinning it and gently cleaning it. You absolutely never want to use isopropyl alcohol on this rubber or on any rubber because it will degrade that very quickly. So this is really where you want to use the distilled water. On anything metal, you could use isopropyl alcohol, but at this point, it's just not that dirty that I just don't feel like we need it. So the audio head and control track head right here, these two. So yeah, and you want to just go side to side on it. Just kind of, I might get in there with another one. And then this is the erase track here. So I'm running up against that one. Obviously we're not erasing anything, but it does. And then this one spins, so this one's also plastic, but not rubber. But we still don't want to use alcohol on it. So that was pretty quick. And you know, you're done with the heads, so don't even worry about those. And I do want to scare you a bit, but not so much that you don't clean them, because, and also do not use any kind of like cassette cleaner for your nicer decks. You can use those, you know, those cassette cleaners that are dry, only use the dry ones, not the wet ones. But don't use them on these nicer decks, like your AG 1980. You have to hand clean that. Those are fine on like consumer decks that you just want to clean, you know, clean maybe at the end of the week or something. And those are so easy. Those decks are so easily replaceable. So we don't mind using them and saving the time that way by using those. But otherwise they will damage your insides of your nice deck. And we've spent too much money on this and we want to keep her in good running shape. So this is just a way to keep your heads clean and keep your tapes clean as well, so the old dirty tapes don't get on any kind of newer ones. So please be careful when you're doing the heads and just watch this a few more times, maybe practice on a deck that you don't care about and kind of get the feel for it. And if you want to like shoot me a video and be like, is this right when you're practicing, then I can give you pointers there. But really it is just as easy as that, and while I want you to be precious about the heads, I don't want you to be so precious that you don't do it. So thank you so much and happy cleaning.